Hey folks, welcome back to the Mr. Global channel. Donald Trump fires the head of Bureau of Labor Statistics. We're going to get into that in just a second. But before I get started, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate all my new followers and subscribers. So let's get into this. After the July jobs report came out, I believe it was 73,000 jobs, which honestly, I didn't think that was that bad. I mean, it was lower than expected, but it's not something I would have scoffed at necessarily. The big news was that the May and June jobs have been revised down, but collectively 258,000 jobs. And that is very significant. I believe it was a total of 19,000 created in May and 14,000 in June, something like that. Regardless, revised down by 258,000 jobs. And so the response to that news by Donald Trump was to terminate Erica McCanfanter, I think is how you pronounce her last name. I apologize if I got that wrong. Was to fire her immediately. And look, initially my response was, well, of course he wants to fire her. She gave, she made his job numbers look bad or whatever, But when you step back from that and look at it from 10,000 feet or whatever, the fact of the matter is the Bureau of Labor Statistics has quite a history in the last few years of being really bad wrong on job numbers. Now, Donald Trump's, reason for firing her, he claims she's being political and all of this stuff. The fact of the matter is she overreported jobs under the Biden administration and then had to come back later and revise them down. Basically the exact same thing that occurred so far under the Trump administration. So I don't see any political thing going on here. She did the same thing under Joe Biden. They had to revise downward jobs for over 800,000 jobs last year. So this is not, I believe this is not anything that's political. And honestly, what I think this is we are using an old way of doing something in a new economy. Now, do I believe that Donald Trump is firing her for political purposes? Absolutely. Absolutely 100%. Whether she needs to be fired or not can be debated till the cows come home, but it doesn't matter. Whoever comes in, if they're using the same processes to determine job numbers, we're going to get the same results. We're going to get the same results regardless of who that director is. And that is because, in my opinion, we're using a process that is largely outdated. So what we do for the monthly job numbers is it's a monthly survey. We contact 60,000 households. We ask them if they're working, if they're not working. That's not a super effective way to be very accurate on jobs numbers. And what they do when they revise the job numbers is they actually reach out to over 100,000 businesses and survey them and get data from them. And that's why there's such a huge disparity in job numbers from when they're first reported monthly to when they're revised down later. And honestly, I don't like the process of collecting job data. And for the last couple of years, I have been using the ADP job numbers. Now, the reason the ADP job numbers aren't that popular, in my opinion, one is they come out first, and two, they're almost always lower than the Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers. The reason they're almost always lower is because they're more accurate. Now, I wouldn't say they are super duper accurate, but they're definitely closer than what the BLS has ever done in the last recent years. As a matter of fact, the ADP job numbers for May and June, the ones that got revised way down, were significantly closer to the numbers they were revised to. ADP is a payroll processing company. They actually see the data, and maybe they don't see enough because there's not enough people in this country that are working that are in the ADP system, but they are definitely more accurate than the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And obviously the media and the politicians are going to go with whatever number looks best for their politician or their candidate. And that's why the Bureau of Labor Statistics number has always carried more weight than the ADP number. And I fully understand why a lot of people are upset that this woman is getting fired. But what I am talking about is another issue. What I am talking about is the process that they use to determine jobs numbers needs to change. We do not have the same economy we had in 1980. We just don't. Where the vast majority of households was a man going to work, call him at home on the landline. You got a job? Yeah, I still got a job. Okay. It's a totally different economy. We've moved into more of a gig type economy. A lot of people who work now are actually self-employed. They worked in contract type positions. They work in gig type positions. The total job landscape has completely changed since we started using that system. And the process that we use now to collect this job data is the same thing we used in the 40s. In the 40s. It needs to be updated. It needs to be completely changed. Now, here's the problem. I don't know if this notion or idea of changing this whole system has even occurred to anyone in leadership in our government, at the BLS, or within the administration. But here's the problem. If the administration tries to change this now, it's going to look really bad. It's going to look like they're trying to manipulate it. And the fact of the matter is, it's because nobody trusts them. And they could actually try to change it to manipulate numbers. They absolutely could. They absolutely would. So is this administration the administration to change the way we do things at the Bureau of Labor Statistics? You know what I mean? Regardless of who the president is, regardless of who the director of Bureau of Labor Statistics is, there's going to be a day where Donald Trump is gone. We're all going to be talking about other stuff. We have to have that data has to be accurate for many, many reasons. There's decisions that are made about our economy based on that data. You know what I mean? And, I understand the Trump administration is upset because they think interest rates would have been lowered if the job numbers had originally looked like that. My sense is he would have disputed those job numbers as well. I don't think it would have played out the way they're projecting it would have played out. I don't think interest rates would have got lowered. I think he would have threw a fit, because what we would have seen with those lower job numbers in May, we would have seen those job numbers drop significantly right after the tariffs started, right after Liberation Day. Now it's almost like a delayed thing. I don't know if a lot of people are putting those two things together. When you go back to May, it's like, man, the job numbers crashed in May. Oh, wait a minute. That was the month after Liberation Day. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section. I really appreciate all my new followers and subscribers. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Thanks.